He'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
Mavs fans, what is going on? Welcome into another episode of All Things Mavs. Appreciate all you guys that are tuning in on a regular basis, that are subscribing, that are hitting me up in the comments. It means so much to me because I really want to keep the videos coming. And then, once the season rolls around, we're going to really be rocking and rolling. It's going to be a lot of fun. Look, last time I got to talk about the best case scenario for the Dallas Mavericks, and I was realistic with what I thought the best case scenario could be for the Mavs next season. Today, I want to go the opposite way. I actually don't want to, but I feel like I have to. I feel like I have a duty to at least talk about what if things go really, really wrong. And so I'm going to do that. But I'm also still going to be realistic with this one. I'm not going to go, well, everybody tears the ACL and everybody's out for the rest of the season. Like, that would be ridiculous. Like, that's not going to happen. So I want to talk about some realistic things that could happen to the Mavs this upcoming season if everything goes wrong. Again, it's not fun, but I got to talk about it. And I want to start with Cooper Flagg. I know he's everybody's darling. I know everybody is super excited about Cooper Flagg. I mean, just look at him in that jersey. Look how good he looks. I mean, he looks like he is ready to be a Dallas Maverick. Golly, I love it so much. And I loved watching him in Summer League, and I think he's going to be very, very special. The thing that could go wrong with Cooper Flagg, if, and again, I'm putting injuries aside. Like, I'm not going to just harp on injuries this entire time because anybody could talk about injuries all day long. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to talk about other realistic things that could go wrong. With Cooper Flagg, we know that he is an NBA-ready defender. We know that for a fact. Like, he is that good right now. I would not be surprised if he comes in and is, the best overall defender on the Mavericks, besides Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis is always going to be a top 5 defender. But the thing that could go wrong is, what if that is the only NBA scenario, or NBA skill that he shows? What if being an NBA defender is the only thing he does well, the only thing he does at an NBA level? Do I think that's going to be the case? No, I really don't. But worst case scenario, he comes in and his offense doesn't look right. He can't initiate for himself. His shot doesn't really translate to the next level. And he just kind of falls flat on offense, and all he is a good defender. Now, if you're asking me, that's still a really good NBA player. He's a good athlete. Like, that's not going to change. He's not going to, lose his athleticism overnight. But what if the offense isn't there his rookie year? If the offense isn't there his rookie year, he is not as good for the Mavs next season as they need him to be, because he needs to come in and be a little bit of an offensive generator. He needs to show that he can catch and shoot. He needs to show that he can create his own shot. He needs to show that he can facilitate, that he can grab rebounds. If he comes in and all he does is play defense at a high level, I don't think the Mavs will be the best version of themselves. They just won't be, because he's the number 1 pick for a reason. Like, he wasn't just the number 1 pick just to come in and play defense and be the Mavs' best perimeter defender. Like, that's not the only thing he is here for, even though he's going to be great at that. But if that's all he is next year for the Dallas Mavericks, there will be some problems. Dallas will run into issues. They are relying on him pretty heavily while Kyrie is out to be an offensive hub for the Mavs in a way. He's not the offensive hub, but he is going to have to play a high level of offense next season. But again, I don't think it is completely unrealistic to say that there's a chance that Cooper Flagg is not a great offensive player, and he is only a great defensive player in his rookie year. Second thing, we got to talk about Anthony Davis. And I know I said I wasn't going to harp on injuries, but there is a world that AD comes in and, he's got the eye thing that's going on. He's still recovering from the weird lower body, groin, abdomen injury. And maybe he's just not all the way right. If Anthony Davis, not just injury-wise, but if Anthony Davis comes in and decides, you know what, I'm just going to launch three-pointers all day long. I'm not getting in the paint. I'm not doing it. I just want to shoot. If we get that version of Anthony Davis, we're going to be in trouble. The version of Anthony Davis we need is what he was last season for the Los Angeles Lakers, where he played 76 games. He was, I believe, the best player on the Lakers this past year. He averaged 25 points per game. He grabbed 13 rebounds. He was a decent passer at 3.5 assists. Look at the steals and the blocks. I mean, averaged 3.5 stocks last season. He was in the paint, shooting 56%. So beyond just the injury stuff, Anthony Davis has to show that he is still a dominant force on both sides of the ball. But if he comes in and he says, you know what, my body's not right, I'm going to chill out a little bit. I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to, just play an outside perimeter offensive game. The Mavs can be in trouble. That's not his strength. That is not where the Mavs' strength is going to lie next season. And so, while again, I don't want to just focus on injuries because injuries are going to be a part of the equation for any team, but apparently, especially for this Dallas Maverick team, there is a chance in the worst case scenario that Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving are just so bogged down by injuries that they're not effective. And with Kyrie, there's a chance he doesn't come back at all. Like, what if he doesn't play next season? If he doesn't play next season, next year, besides a Cooper Flagg development year, is a wasted season. Because the Mavs cannot make any kind of push in the playoffs if Kyrie Irving does not play in the playoffs. Let's be realistic. I love D'Lo. Like, I'm excited about D'Angelo Russell. He is not Kyrie Irving by any means, and nobody's expecting him to be. But what the Mavs would need in the playoffs would have to come from Kyrie at some level. And so there is a world where the injuries stack up for AD and the injuries stack up for Kyrie. And you know what? This team just falls and falls and falls and falls. And I'll talk about where they land in this worst case scenario because it's not where you might expect. It might not be the bottom of the Western Conference. That's not the worst case scenario. I'll explain here in just a little bit. But I touched on D'Angelo Russell. I talked about him a little bit. Worst case scenario with D'Angelo Russell is that we get the version of D'Angelo Russell that the Lakers and the Nets got last season. And the scary thing is with D'Lo is that this is his most recent season. Like, we just saw it. Like, this is the season we just saw. God, I can't get rid of all these ads, man. I wish I could. I just want to share my screen, but unfortunately, you guys got to see all these ads on this other page. But D'Lo last year, what is this? This is his games play. No, I want his averages. There it is. Last season, he shot 31% from three. That is not D'Angelo Russell, like what we know him to be. If I look back at his other years, and I'm looking on a different page here, but 23, 24, he shot 41% from three, 41% from three the year before that, 39% from three the year before that, 39% from three the year before that, dipped to 35%, and then 30%. He's a good three-point shooter. If we get 31% from three, D'Angelo Russell, this team is going to be in trouble early because we're already low on shooters. Like, our shooter next season is Klay Thompson. And Max Christie is a hypothetical, like, he probably is still going to be a good shooter. But if Klay Thompson is the only good shooter in the starting five, because I expect D'Angelo Russell to start with Klay Thompson. But if Klay's the only shooter, there's no space to operate. Cooper Flagg will be completely stuck. Anthony Davis will not be able to get into the paint without everybody collapsing on him. Dereck Lively won't be able to hunt lobs and hunt offensive putbacks. Like, there's going to be a lot of problems if D'Angelo Russell is shooting 31% from three. So I'm not really worried about like his turnovers or like his chucking shots. I'm worried about his efficiency. If D'Lo shoots 31% from three, that is worst case scenario for the Mavs with D'Lo. They need a 38, 39, 40% from three D'Angelo Russell. And I think he can be that. Like, I think he can easily be that. And I think we've seen that from him more often than not. Like, that is closer to who he is than what he was last season as a shooter. We need him to be a good passer. We need him to facilitate. I'm not worried about him scoring a ton. Just knock down the open shots. That's all he's got to do. And I think he can do that at a pretty high level. I think he will at a pretty good level for the Mavs next season. My other thing with the worst case scenario is, what if Dereck Lively doesn't take a third-year leap? What if Dereck Lively is just what he was the past 2 years? Besides the injuries, not going to talk about his injuries a ton. Just what if he is what he was last year or the year before that? Which is a darn good player, which is a very effective rim protector and a very effective finisher around the rim, a very good shot blocker. I mean, he shot 75% from the field in his rookie year, 70% from the field the year before that. But what if that's all he is? What if he doesn't find a better post-up game? You know, what if he can't knock down a wide open three? If that's the case, then you're basically getting the same center rotation we've had the past 2 years, which is a great center rotation. It's just not good enough to go to that next level. I think third-year Dereck Lively is going to take a huge leap, but there's a chance he doesn't. There's even a chance he regresses in his junior year of being in the NBA. I don't think it's going to happen, but he has to add a little something to his game. And every year he has, like, which he's only had one extra year in the NBA. But if you look back, like his rookie year, he wasn't doing a lot around the rim besides just finesse, or besides just putbacks and catching lobs. His second year, he was starting to get a little post work, a little low post hook. He was doing some stuff, but he wasn't adding anything extra. If he didn't add a whole lot extra, he needs to add something else. He needs to show he can make a three. He needs to show that, you know what, it's not just a mismatch post up, but he can take advantage of guys that are even the same size as him because he has that kind of finish. And I think he will. I also think defensively, he's got to take another step forward. He's already an amazing defender, but man, if he could get into the level where like he's not a mismatch on the perimeter, and he's really not much of a mismatch on the perimeter for a lot of teams and a lot of players, but if he can get on the perimeter and guard some wings and some twos, like some threes and fours on the wings, that's huge. The Mavs take a huge step forward. But what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? Then it's worst case scenario. And then you're looking at a team that, okay, if all these things happen, if Dereck Lively doesn't take a step forward, if Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving are just completely bogged down by injuries and Anthony Davis just wants to shoot threes because he's too scared to get hurt in the paint, if Cooper Flagg is only a defensive weapon and not an offensive weapon, if D'Angelo Russell is inefficient next season, all those things happen, Dallas is definitely out of the playoffs, out of that top six. I think they probably fall to like the 10th seed in this scenario. That is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is the Mavs get into the 10th seed. They get into the play-in. They make a push. Maybe they win 2 games. Maybe they get back into the playoffs. And now you're like this probably 500 to sub 500 team that sneaks into the playoffs, doesn't have a lottery pick, and you're getting swept in the first round by Oklahoma City. That's the worst case scenario. I would much rather have Dallas at the complete bottom of the NBA the Western Conference, and have a chance at the number 1 pick or a top 5 pick next year, or they're in the top 6, guaranteed playoffs. 7-8 is even fine. If they get to that 9-10 range and then make a push and all of a sudden decide, you know what, we're gonna make the playoffs and then go get swept in the first round, that is the worst case scenario, because we've seen what happens if this team misses the playoffs and gets a chance in the lottery. We just won the lottery. We got the number 1 pick with a 1.8% chance. So do I think this is going to happen? No. I think the Mavs are going to be good next year. I even talked about that in my best case scenario video. Go watch that. I'm going to do a most realistic scenario following this video at some point when I get the time, and really give you guys my predictions on what happens. But if things go wrong for the Mavs, it's not, this team's tanking. Tanking is better than a 10 seed for Dallas next season. I completely believe in that. I fully believe that. If you disagree, let me know. Hit me up in the comments down below. But I don't like talking about this. I don't like talking about the worst case scenario because I'm an overly optimistic fan. I know that. And I enjoy being optimistic. It's way more fun to be optimistic than be doom and gloom all the time. But let me know what you guys think. Is any of this going to happen? Like, is Cooper Flagg, like, what if he busts? I don't think he will. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be an all-star talent early in his career, not next year, but early in his career and for the rest of his career. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Hope I'm not, but maybe I am.